Travis winged, so I should go running first, then do this video, but here we are. And we're way early for this. But like I told you, we got some fun stuff coming next year in regards to signs in the heavens. And as I am the only person on earth who knows the particular information that I'm about to give you, because I specifically designed my education. Thus nobody else has this knowledge, not even the experts in the particular fields, as they've got it all wrong. For example, the book of Esther, or Esther, again, the pronunciation varies depending on your country of origin. And so, TH can even be Esther. But if you look at Wikipedia, it puts in a little note, thinking they're clever, saying that the Book of Esther and the Song of Songs, which is the Song of Solomon for Mormons, in case you didn't know, are claimed to be the only two books without a reference to God. Oh my God. Even my instructor for this particular part of my selected education, Thomas Robinson, knew all about this. Huh. How did he know? Esther is the name of a goddess from Mesopotamia, originating from Egypt. But we'll get to that. And so the king of Persia, this is the time frame in which the book is set, and it wasn't written during this time period. It was written much later because of anachronisms that are contained within, but nonetheless, won't go into that. Ahasuerus was the king of Persia. And again, pronunciation, depending on your country of origin, blah, blah, blah. His queen was named Vashti. And so I've already got it planned for the song in the description below to have Shanti Shanti as the theme song. If you're familiar with that chick flick, and guys particularly don't care to go with their wives to watch the chick flicks until they see this one, because it's got Hugh Grant and Drew Barrymore. And oh yeah, dear, oh, I want to go see that movie with you, or let's rent it. Well, I guess we don't do that anymore. We have to buy it because it's not available for streaming. Isn't that interesting how we're turning away from this? But it's music, something with music in the title. I just got it the other month, as I realized I didn't have it in my collection. Let's see, Hugh Grant, Drew Barrymore. Music and lyrics. That's the name of it. Buddha's Delight is the name of the song. That's impressive. You've managed to offend two cultures with one song. And so Vashti as the queen, was ordered to present herself to the public as the trophy wife, and she refused. Oh, hell no. And so the king was furious and called for her execution. So he needed a new wife, someone who's more compliant, like Eve rather than Lilith. Wonder where they got this story from. And so we have the introduction of yet more gods and goddesses, because the kings back in those days were understood as gods ruling on earth. But anyway, now in Shushan, oh, isn't that interesting? The kingdom of the sun. Hold on, let me do a check. It's Ether 2.5. Didn't realize this. Now it's going to make this video even longer. Maybe we'll have to cut it in half and do this introduction. No, go away. God. Everybody wants money these days. Which verse? 5. Dun, 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 dun. Westminster, Leningrad Codex. Yep. Well, it's actually Shemish, but so it's not quite. It's the place between, because it's the shoe sign for Paleo-Hebrew, the father of Nut and Geb, and then the two waters, separating the waters. So it's the space for the sun. So it's close, very close. But yeah, I was correct in recognizing it. A certain Jew whose name was Marduk, king of Babylon, with his Babylon temple, which was not the Tower of Babel, despite all of the Mormons and Christians who go to Iraq to serve in the military after Bush declared war. I'm the decider, Dad! But anyway, yeah, that's what Mordecai comes from, the Babylonian King Marduk. So again, what are you talking about? No gods. So, let's see, and then Esther becomes the new queen. And if you're unfamiliar with the biblical story of Abraham and Sarai and Sarah becoming Sarah, she's Sarai when Abram, before being called Abraham. They had these weird stories that other scholars can't figure out. Like I said, they get so caught up with their titles and degrees that they neglect what it was all about, man. For the music, man. But the point of calling him sister comes from the ancient Egyptian practice of Pharaoh being married to his sister to solidify the throne of the blood reign. And now, of course, yes, in our modern day, it's disgusting and sickening and only for porn topics. But again, you can't use our morality to be imposed on the ancients, because that too comes from the story of Nut and Geb. And so, yes, I am the guy who figured out what's going on with Noah being drunk and Ham discovering his nakedness, but his son Canaan is cursed. And if you're unfamiliar with Abraham chapter 1, Joseph Smith seems to also know exactly what happened and tells us. And yet Egyptologists, it goes right over their head. They all miss it. It's right there, guys. That's your field of study, and you missed it? Is it because you don't want to admit Joseph Smith was right and knew Egyptian? And the church won't stand up for Joseph either. But nonetheless, Esther is the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai. So Mordecai is her uncle. And she's taken unto the king, into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women. Now, I don't talk about children being born unto her. And she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins. They're not virgins once they have children. And they didn't really have Trojan condoms or birth control pills or other methods. I mean, the whole purpose of a king having multiple wives was to ensure that he at least had one son to take over. Not so that Mormons can be involved in illegal sex slave trafficking and slavery. Let's see. King made a feast. The virgins gathered. Mordecai's gate. Esther did not show herself to the people. Blah, 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 blah. Haman is the bad guy in the story. He wants to kill the Jews with the Holocaust. So this is why the Jews have this holy day, that's where it comes from, called Purim. Purim is the Hebrew word for lots, my lot in life. That's where that comes from. And so when Nephi and his brothers cast lots to see who would go and confront Laban, and it became Laman who got the short stick, well, they were casting Purim. And so, yes, there's going to be a significance with this. But you guys don't believe that the Book of Mormon is code. You think it's literal, and ex-Mormons and non-Mormons who want nothing to do with the church all believe that the Book of Mormon is just, fiction, taken from dozens of other books for that very purpose. And so you miss it. And so Haman fools the king into creating a weapon of mass destruction, and then Mordecai finds out about it, tells Esther, please tell the king about this to save the Jews, and she does at her own risk of her life, because how dare you enter the king's chambers without being summoned, despite being his first wife. And she saves the Jews. And Haman fulfills Deuteronomy chapter 19, that which you falsely accuse in others and issue a punishment for reveals the punishment for which you will be punished instead of the falsely accused. And so, yes, he dies on his own weapon as part of the punishment. We'll include the source origin for Esther first, before I go on my run, and then we'll get to the other stuff. The space doctrine. To go to the origins, we need to go to Egypt. That's the source of all religion in the world. And confirmation with the book of Esther. Because Isis is the first goddess of Egypt. Now, she's called different names. There's Hathor, for example, and Nun. But it's all the same pattern of stories. And so it's all personifying the first story of Egypt. The main story of Egypt. That of Osiris, murdered by his brother Set, and Horus, the son of Osiris, is born and raised to take back the throne. And so Isis is the wife of Osiris that's involved in all this. And so, I should also, Abraham and Sarah, did I not complete that thought? They go to an Egyptian pharaoh, and Pharaoh kidnaps Sarai, and she's one of the sex toys, and somehow she miraculously becomes a virgin still. She remains a virgin despite being married to Abraham, who apparently can't give her a child, and they're supposedly very old. And so after the instance with Pharaoh, she is let go. And it's where Esther is taking this from. It's sort of like an explanation of what happened that we don't find out about in the stories in Genesis. It's using different characters, but it is a story that can be placed within the Genesis and still turn out to be a good one to fit the narrative. If you're familiar with what Joseph Smith did to add to certain biblical stories. And so after there's other interruptions of story, and then all of a sudden messengers come to Sarai and tell her name's now Sarah, and hey, you're pregnant. And she laughs mockingly, and thus the son is named Isaac for mocking laughter. And who got her pregnant? Because it wasn't Abraham. Abraham failed to do the job for decades. So who got her pregnant? Whose child is this? And so again, the Jesus narrative, Mary, she's a temple prostitute, according to the other texts that were denied in the New Testament. The Gospel of Mary, the mother of Jesus, or the birth of Mary, explains all of that, of how mother had prayed to God for a child, and she promised, just like the mother of Samuel, that if she had a child, she would give the child to the temple. And so, yes, like Samuel, the child was given to the temple to be taken care of. And so the anachronism part, which the authors of this story refuse to even mention also, is that she was a temple sacral prostitute, and thus the importance of Joseph coming to buy her is that he was specifically looking for a virgin, not a mother who's had children before, and thus the children are then given to be raised in the temple as the mother continues her work for the temple as a sacral prostitute during the Greek and into the Roman period. And so Mary being pregnant is, a violation of the contract for the sale of the slave woman, the sacral prostitute. And so then you have to have an angel step in. Oh, hold on, Joseph, don't just toss her aside. She's immaculately conceived. By God, the Father Amen of noonday, the Most High. So relax, it's okay. And by the way, Pharaoh is the son Amen of noonday on earth. And so yes, all of these stories are all tied in together if you know what you're looking for. If you're just going to say, well, it's not the same name, you're going to be deceived. And so Isis is an Egyptian, again, depending on your country of origin, asset. The T is the grammatical termination for the feminine singular. And so when they migrated into Canaan, you get Asherah or Asheroth. And my anthropology of the ancient Middle East instructor, Eva Vasilevska, is the one who was involved with the discovery of the inscription of Yahweh and Baal, his brother, and Asherah, his wife. And so again, you're seeing that pattern from Egypt carried into Canaan, using different names as a different language emerges. And so with Ishtar, which is Esther, you have that R at the end, but it's the exact same root from Isis. And as I'm the one who deciphered the origins of the alphabet, so yes, your Paleo-Hebrew, your Proto-Sinaitic, had to redo that one. Dear God, they botched that one up. Your Paleo-Greek, your Greek, your Aramaic. The R is a suffix determinative and is the God representation. And so in this particular case, as it's a female, it's the goddess. And so it's the goddess Isis in Mesopotamia. And they just refer to her as Ishtar. And everybody thinks that they're separate deities and not connected whatsoever. Why do you guys claim to be scientists if you're not even going to utilize science? And so let us then take a break. I'll go for my run, and then we'll talk about the star doctrine. that's coming up next year. Alrighty, I'm back. And of course, listen to Buddha's Delight during my run to keep me in character. And true story, as much as the Book of Mormon is literal history, Shanti got her outfit from the pattern of Brigham Young for his eaves in his temple garden scene. And that was only because the Mormon slave girls that were extorted to come with him into this desert valley were too offended by the eaves being actually naked, as the story goes. And so he created the first bikini. That's literally true. He didn't understand why the women were such prudes, as he gave the eaves a larger speaking role. Not too dissimilar from Nelson, who gave Eve a larger speaking role, and all Mormon women missed that it was merely the text from the selections from the Book of Moses. And it was my second ex. She was telling me about the changes and thinking that she had to keep them a sacred secret from me. Are you kidding me? But I got it out of her as we found the audio, technically, in a video form on YouTube with the text. And thus I've been posting that for you ever since. As he changed the law of chastity to, again, allow for the restoration of polygamy of Brigham Young. I'm sure his temple videos, because he's doing away with the live versions, will not have nudity. My favorite of the temple videos was the one that I went through the Los Angeles temple on May 6th, 1989 for my mission. It was the brunette, and so this is a long time ago, so it's not the new brunette, it's the old brunette, and I call that video the temple porn video, because they couldn't have the eaves actually naked either, because heaven forbid we should see a woman's nakedness, because it's evil. Women's bodies are evil, right? It's not idol worshiping at all, is it? But you can see as Eve is passing through the bushes to talk to Heavenly Father and Jesus, that she's got this white cloth draped around her. Thus the temple porn. Because if she weren't wearing that, the bushes were not thick enough. So, anyway, the space doctrine. Remember the pattern that is throughout all of the scriptures that I went over with you earlier, is that it's not just the woman who is the hero of the story. She actually gets impregnated with the successor to restore the throne. And as lots of the stories sort of leave that part out of it, or add that part of it later on, because Moses, for example, he's the hero, the Christ, who comes to save the house of Israel with the Exodus. As all the previous stories about Abraham and Sarah and Pharaoh, that all is because of, that all leads to Moses. And so Isaac being blind, just like Samson is blind, giving the birthright blessing to the usurper rather than to the hairy one. That's directly the same story from the Egyptians of Horus returning to challenge Set for the throne of his father to restore it. And so yes, the mother got involved in the Egyptian story, as well as Rebecca got involved with Jacob to usurp the birthright and the blessing. And so Esther just follows that tradition, that pattern. Now, what is fascinating is that the constellation Virgo plays that role of the stories in the heavens. And Purim is the Jewish holy day for the celebration of Esther. And next year, you just go to time and date, and you can go back to Joseph Smith and check out some fun stuff there too, because there is. And I think we can go over that. I think this ties in. Yes, it does. So let's bring it up. So, what are you doing over there? God. Windows, you suck. Let me design it my way. I did it my way, or the highway. Buddha's delight. And so, Joseph Smith also understood all of this. As we have section 103, verse 16. Therefore I will raise up unto my people, obviously the Mormons, a man who shall lead them like as Moses led the children of Israel. For ye are the children of Israel and the seed of Abraham. Are we sure it's Abraham? Are we sure it's not Pharaoh? Are we sure it's not Ammon? Son Ammon, technically. And ye must needs be led out of bondage. Mormons will be in bondage? Well, obviously, that's far into the future, because the church is not putting Mormons in bondage. They're the one true church. You know, inverted pentagram? No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Look away. This is not the star you were looking for. Look away. Baby, turn away or look away. That's Chicago. Find yourself someday. Look away, baby, look away. Memories on the corner of my mind, by power in an outstretched arm. For as your fathers were led at first, even so the redemption of the Mormons for Zion be. And so, verily, verily, I say unto you, that my servant Joseph Smith Jr. is the man to whom I liken the servants in the parable. So yes, there is a destruction of Babylon coming. Now, son, then I've gone over all that, because we just had, it was Friday morning, a day which shall live in infamy, as the church was exposed in the plot to have me assassinated yet again. And so instead, they got mad and they shut down my internet for half the day, from midnight till noon. Bastards. If you know you can't win, you have to cheat to win. This is the church. They cannot win. The Book of Mormon just destroys them. The Book of Mormon, you know, the book they publish and have our missionaries go out all over the world. Yeah. And yet Joseph is saying, hey, a Mormon's going to come out of this great and abominable church to save the Mormons. Just like Esther, out of the Jews to save the Jews. Taking out the whole concept of the baby born through her with the Persian king to save the Jews. So they sort of altered the story a little bit, but there's a reason. And that reason is next year. Because for Purim, which will be, that's 1830. That's right, I brought that up, didn't I? So I'm going to go to this file. My Buddha's delight. Why aren't you popping up? Hello? My Buddha's delight. Okay. So, the official full moon is before 1 a.m. on the 18th of March. And so from Earth, it will look like a full moon at the evening of the 17th. And the moon will be full for Purim. And there it is, right at the head of Virgo. Now, you may say, well, it's probably that way every year. I checked. I did the check. I did the research. Like again, I designed my education. This was part of that. To do actual scientific research on any field that I had to go in. Because I was learning, growing up, that adults knew nothing. They were not going to give me the answers because they didn't know the answers, and so it was up to me to do the original pioneer research to find those answers that I simply wanted to know. So annoying and frustrating, all the work I've done. Deciphering Paleo-Hebrew, deciphering the signs that Egyptologists don't think can be translated, discovering that the Bible stories come from those untranslated characters in Egyptian, and so on and so forth. And so I went back in time, year by year, to see when the moon was in conjunction in Virgo. And the previous time was 2014, and it was at her hand by the star Spica, and that was on the 16th. And so then 2003, it was at the head again on the 18th. Uh-oh, is this a pattern? Well, as a scientist, you run a test to check. Sure enough, 1995, on the 16th, at the hand of Spica. Isn't that interesting? We have a pattern. Now, does this pattern continue? Well, the short answer is no, it doesn't. So before that, it was 1992, at the head on the 18th. Oh, whoops, that was a little too quick. but it continued the pattern of being at the head on the 18th. But then 1987, wow, that ruined the pattern. Now we have an anomaly. And so that was on the 15th even, and that's in Spica. And then 1984, that was on the 17th. That's on the breasts. 1976, Spica on the 15th. 1973, at the head on the 18th. 1965, the breasts on the 17th. And so that pattern is kind of random, but corresponds with Virgo when it is Purim. And so I had to also check into the future. However, it's not until 2033 when it will happen again. And that's on the 15th, and that is at Spica. And then 2041 on the 17th at the shoulders. So this pattern of 4, a tetrad. There's another tetrad going on right now, isn't there, Nelson? And so, yes, during the time frame of the latter days, which I've gone over with you, 2017 to 2024, there is this pattern, but the pattern goes back to 1995. That's curious. What happened in 1995 that would be so significant? Who also happened to be involved with a certain pattern of lunar eclipses that I've gone over with you. Yes, Hinckley took over on the throne of the presidency. That April conference. And so I checked the other months in between from this year to 2015, and just to check to see if Virgo is tied with Purim each and every single year. On the and this year, on the 26th of February, Leo missed Virgo by that much. 2020, on the 9th of March, Leo. 2019, oh, here we go, back in Virgo's head, on the 20th. 2018, Leo, on the 1st of March. 2017, we're back in Virgo on the head for the 12th of March. 2016, we're still in Virgo on the shoulders, 23rd of March. And 2015, back in Leo on the 5th. But interestingly, as you'll see from the thumbnail that I will put up for you, Ishtar is shown with lions. Isn't that interesting? So Esther, Purim, Ishtar, connected with lions. And yes, so are the Egyptians with Isis. As they have the Sphinx lions. And so that's kind of fun and exciting. But you'll notice a pattern that corresponds the full moon with the 17th. Now, if you've paid attention to all my videos, you will know that is the actual birthday of the Christ, as the Christ has multiple birthdays throughout the year. It's like every day is Christ's birthday. You just have to go to a different passage of Scripture. Oh, there's that day for his birthday. Oh, there's that day for his birthday. There's that day. So yes, December 25th is one of multiple birthdays for the Christ. We just had several of them already this year. And so narrowing down his actual birthday has been a bit of a challenge for my research. But thank goodness for the Druids, of whom the Catholics trusted their records, and made St. Patrick the patron saint. As Joseph Smith confirms. Because when did women receive the priesthood and priesthood office, Oaks? Oaks? Hello? Hello? Women in the priesthood and priesthood office. Oaks? Are you there? Are you watching? Or are you just getting a report from your minions about this video? Oaks! You insisted that it was not God's will for women to have the priesthood and priesthood office. You were sure of that. And the prophets keep telling us that, oh, women are beneficiaries of the blessings of the priesthood. Oaks, where are you? Oaks! Yes, I did that video going over that very talk by Joseph Smith when he organized the Relief Society, giving them the priesthood, and it was even breaking news for me as I went over it with you. Priesthood office. Oh my God, that was hilarious. On the 17th of March. And 2 days before, he became a Master Mason in the Scottish Rites Lodge of the Warsaw Grand Master, where he was stationed, so that they could have a branch off in Nauvoo. But the Danites were causing too many problems. And so there's another significant date in church history that does play a part because of that passage that I referred to you earlier about Haman being punished with the punishment with which he falsely accused the Jews to issue that punishment. Deuteronomy 19, which follows Deuteronomy 18, and the original document did not have chapters and verses. It was all one continuous text. And so the passage at the end of chapter 18 is the inspiration for Deuteronomy 19 with the false accuser. Nelson, are you listening to this? Ye who have issued the death threat over the pulpit of conference, as we are in a lunar tetrad, just like we were not too long ago. Yes, Thomas B. Marsh, in 1838, after Joseph Smith was falsely accused because of the Danites, the extermination order of Governor Boggs. Am I getting that right? It was actually Brigham and Heber who ordered and paid Orrin Porter Rockwell to assassinate Governor Boggs, for which Boggs was pissed and issued the extermination order of all Mormons because of the Danites, led by Brigham Young, the secret leader of the group. as there were other Mormons who stepped up to take the fall for Brigham Young to protect his identity. Joseph, however, knew, especially when he got back out of Liberty Jail, it was obvious who exalted himself while he was gone, locked up. Yeah, Brigham Young kicked out the people who would not vote for him to be president and became president through the vote in the quorum. What? No, we don't vote for the president in quorums, Travis. Yeah, Joseph's church was different. Completely different. And so after becoming president in the absence of Thomas B. Marsh, chased out by the Danites, Brigham Young usurped the authority of the High Council and Joseph Smith of excommunication and took it upon himself to excommunicate those within his own group. So he sent a letter to Thomas B. Marsh saying, hey, we're holding an excommunication court on the 17th of March, 1839. Joseph is still locked up in Liberty Jail at this time. So how was he the one who excommunicated him? Both Hinckley and Monson both got up at the pulpit of conference and said this story, that it was the wife's fault for the milk being held back, and that Thomas B. Marsh was defending her honor, and it went all the way to Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith said, no, you're excommunicated. No, that was all a lie. The prophets of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints lied to all of us. It was Brigham Young who exalted himself, that's the word Joseph uses, to excommunicate Thomas B. Marsh. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith condemned them when he got back, calling them Judas. Judas, huh? The one possessed by Lucifer with the inverted pentagram? And so Deuteronomy 19 now plays a factor. And we can see that Joseph Smith also knew about that too, because W.W. Phelps was a naughty, naughty boy. And so here we have, especially the one song he did, as I broke that story for you too. We have verse 7. It comes from Samson. And it shall come to pass that I, the Lord God, will send one mighty and strong, holding the scepter of power in his hand, clothed with light for a covering, whose mouth shall utter words, eternal words. His bowels shall be a fountain of truth, to set in order the house of God, the temple. Yay! He's clothed with light, light of the sun at noonday, shall we say? Yes, we shall say. So say we all. Buck Rogers had that same... I see what you're doing, Glenn. I saw what you were doing. Glenn A. Larson, Mormon, developed Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers. And so Buck Rogers was Starbucking. Classics. So say we all. And so, yeah, this has to do with Zion, the latter days. And so, why did Brigham Young bother to put this in the year before he died? Could it be that he saw himself as the one mighty and strong? And that Joseph Smith was instead verse 8? Or not? Because Joseph intended this to be the future that Moses is talking about in Deuteronomy 18. So 7 is the verses about the one like Moses that we read to from 103. And then verse 8 corresponds with the end of the passage. And so, chapter 19 in Deuteronomy is the punishment affixed. And so, yes, we are in a tetrad. And next year, before the third tetrad, because it's May and November this time around, it's not connected to Jewish holy days as 2014 and 2015 were. And I became aware in 2014, when there was the final set of the pattern. That's the beginning of this one. It was on 2014 on the 16th of March in Spica. And so then next year is the ending of that pattern at the head of Virgo on the 18th. And so the 17th plays in that factor. But the beginning of the lunar tetrad was in 2014 for Passover and Tabernacles for those 2 years. And Passover for the Exodus, Tabernacles for the gathering of Israel, also the Exodus. All plays a part for the latter days. And so for Monson to get out a first presidency statement telling Mormons that this is not the latter-day signs in the heaven you were looking for, which resulted in Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow saying, well, they don't know what they're talking about. It is, and she's now a goddess, and he's apparently the Messiah. I'm not sure. We've not heard anything from him as to what he thought he was. He had the near-death experience seeing Jesus. And so, yeah, they became murderers to enforce their belief system. Much like the prophets of the church since Brigham. And so they were just following the Mormon pattern. God, those poor kids. How could you? They were zombies. Zombie apocalypse, remember? But anyway, 3 apostles bite the big one after number 3. And before number 4. Scott just barely made it in time. And having listened to reports from his family, it may have been forced upon him. Apparently he was having some issues in the 12, and you cannot do anything unless you have unanimous consent by every member in the quorum. So if you've got anybody who dissents, nothing gets done. That's why it took so long for Jesus to restore priesthood and priesthood office to blacks in 1978. But we get a fun story of Kimball going to President McConkie, or Elder McConkie, saying, I need you to do me a favor though. Look through the scriptures, see if you can find any reason to continue to deny blacks the priesthood. Because we want to make sure that I'm the good guy in the story, that we're not doing a quid pro quo with the United States of America in dropping the Edmunds-Tucker Act. If you're unfamiliar with the Edmunds-Tucker Act, I refer you to yesterday's video about how the church is illegal. Was it yesterday's or was it the day before? I think it was yesterday. It's the one with the documents from the Supreme Court that enforced the Edmunds-Tucker Act. made it official. Right, Oaks? Is that what you want? New laws rather than the courts to determine the law through lawsuits and protesting? Right, Oaks? Oaks, where are you? You're still hiding. Why are you hiding? Is it because you're so small? I shouldn't laugh too hard. I should have been small. That's the family genes. The good cells were very small. We came from the British Druids. And so, yeah, we were not the hobbits, but it was the warrior caste guys. Were they the dwarves? Whatever. Short and stocky. And so, how did I become 6'5"? That's weird. Because my mom, my mom's family, not too tall. It's from my mom's grandpa on her mother's side. So, let's see. 2 for my parents, 4 for grandparents, and then 8. So 1/8 is where I get my height from. As well as the blue eyes. Blue eyes, baby's got blue eyes. But my dark hair comes from my mom's dad's side of the family, which came from North Carolina, where the slave owner had sex with my ancestor's slave girl. And there was a shame and embarrassment on the family, and so they were sort of ostracized. So we don't get inheritance, and I don't even get reparations either. What the hell? Don't qualify for inheritance or reparations. Something's screwed up and all that. And so let's just make this video last all day long, shall we? And so next year for Purim, which is the end of the pattern, it is before the 3rd of this lunar tetrad. And as I went over with you, and as you all already know, Purim is for saving, rescuing of those who are falsely accused, and the punishment then falls on the false accuser instead of the accused. A Savior video. Jesus. Why didn't they call him Jesus? Esther's child is named Jesus. So it is said, so it is done. So Jesus saves the Jews in the Persian Empire. They did it for the Roman period. Why not the Persian period? They called him Samson during the period of Judah, or the Judges. They called him Moses in the book of the Exodus. So why not call him Jesus? They called him Jesus for the book of Jesus that followed the Torah, Joshua. So why not? We'll just throw out names, since Matthew quotes from Isaiah, doesn't call Isaiah by name, and says that his name is supposed to be Emmanuel, sun god at noonday, and instead says we're going to call him Jesus. I'm quoting the passage where we're supposed to fulfill prophecy by calling his name Emmanuel, and so his name's now Jesus. Hilarious. And so, why not just change the names? Because the names have meaning, and so Savior is the theme of the Gospels. Whereas Sun King is the theme for Samson. And Moses is the theme for the Exodus. David Moses, specifically. Again, that's exclusive material from me, though Ahmed Osman suggested it, as others beat around the bush about it. I'm the one who developed the theory and tested it. Ta-da! Confirmed! Bunch of scared scholars who think they're experts in their field but won't actually do the job they're required to do because of fear of the Catholic Church. Try being afraid of the Mormon Church, who want to murder you just like the Catholics murdered their scientists. And so, as the pattern of lunar eclipses and deaths of Mormon prophets seems to be evident in an upcoming year with the final pattern of Purim next year, right before that number 3. And so between May and November, we are waiting and hoping, right? If you're listening to me for this long, yeah, you've got to have some level of belief that something might be true from what I'm saying. Your spiritual witness is saying, maybe there is something to this. The fall of Babylon, the whore, the great and abominable church with the inverted pentagram, and the temple sacred covenants in the temple that needs to be restored. Shanti, shanti. Dun 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 dun. Buddha's delight. And so, there's something else back in Joseph Smith's time that indicates Joseph Smith knew, as he already let us know that he knew with the changing in Revelation chapter 12 for yet another birthday of the Christ. And it's the moving of verse 5 to verse 3 that corresponds with the Book of Mormon and the star date that comes from it for 23rd September 2020 or 2017. And as I've gone over with you, that was the Saturday when the Relief Society, for the first time under Monson, was a part of General Conference rather than its separate women's session of conference. And that was also the very first presided over by the brand new Relief Society president put in April of that year, who had previously been the primary president. Well, that just shows that the church is true, Travis. Have you not heard about the spawn of Lucifer? Come on, guys. Christine, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist him. Hilarious movie. Awesome. Schwarzenegger, Armageddon. Or not Armageddon, End of Days. It's about Armageddon. And Schwarzenegger saves the Earth from Armageddon. It didn't happen. There are things you can't understand. I saw Santa Claus last night. Just hilarious. And wow, was I right about psychos. The psycho is stepping in to steal his wife away And he's then trying to then take the kid away by being a homewrecker as a psycho. And he's pulling all these stunts. He's turned the wife into an evil villain who's quoting from him, as the kid also quotes from him, the psycho. And have I not told you and warned you about psychos? These guys are dangerous. The exact same patterns. That was the true part. And then Tim Allen is Santa Claus to show how psychos are wrong. What? No! You had him! Just take out the Santa part, just leave the psycho part, and it's awesome still. But then we wouldn't have part 2, the Mrs. Claus, with Mitchell? Can't remember her name. But I shouldn't look it up. But the new principal of the older school. Veronica, very nice. In your dreams, sleigh boy. Hilarious. So, 2 days before, is the Saturday, the 6th of April, 2024. And on Monday, the 8th of April, 2024, is the final day of darkness of the 3 days of darkness over the United States of America. Again, a pattern. And I've gone over with you how Samson, the Sun King, has the 3 deaths that correspond with the constellations in which the sun is eclipsed over the United States for the 3 days of darkness. First one with the lion, second one with the woman, Virgo, and then the third one in Pisces, the birthday of the Christ, which is the death day, like St. Patrick. As Samson dies, destroying the great and abominable church of the Philistines. You see the pattern? So the lion, the lion house of the great and abominable church, the beehive house, wedding feast, wedding supper of the Lamb. Ringing any bells yet? You see why I'm just going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. In India, the spelling for Cocoa Puffs involves 3 Ks. Apparently India doesn't catch it. Dear God, I saw that and I just... Is it General Mills that does this? Or is it a different company branch off? So anyway, I digress. So 2 days before the total solar eclipse. And so in April 1830, on the 8th of April, we have a full moon, just like in 8 April 2024. But this time there's no total solar eclipse. Or I'm doing, yeah, it's the moon. It's the full moon. And it was, hold on. because the 22nd is the one, but it's before the moon. Because the 6th of April was when the church was founded, 2 days before the 8th of April, and it's the full moon. So there's a slight adjustment, because it's new moons that are associated with solar eclipses. And there is no lunar eclipse that occurred. We can check. List of lunar eclipses in the 19th century. That's lunar eclipses by century. February. It's a partial. February 23rd. Huh. That's interesting. But then March 24th. And then August 18th. And then September 17th. There was a lot of lunar eclipses, and they were all partials. For 1830, all of them were partials. From February 23rd to September 17th, they were all partials. Fascinating. But March 24th? Interesting. We need to download this one. We're getting breaking news here, guys. I've done it again. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. Yay, Britney is free. March 24th, the week after the 17th. Fascinating. And so then he organizes the church on the 6th, which was a Tuesday, 2 days before the 8th. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's check solar eclipses. I wonder if there was a solar eclipse that year. 19th century. There it is. I've checked it before. No, yeah, solar. Did you trick me? They were partial solar eclipses. Where was my lunar? You tricked me. Unbelievable. Lunar eclipses by century? Well, I want to click on them, guys. You're not allowing me to click on them. Catalog of lunar eclipses. Yeah, will it show me? Because in the 19th century, there were... Is that supposed to mean the number? Yeah, the number. 249. And penumbral, partial. Penumbral was 90, partial was 97, total was 62. But you're not telling me... Oh, here we go. Okay, so it does. Yep, sure enough. March 9th was a lunar eclipses, number, category number, Luna number, Saros number, eclipse type, and they have N, P, and T. I'm guessing P is for partial, or is it penumbral? Where's your key? I'm not seeing a key. Key, you gotta click on a link. And you don't even have it. You have SAP, SAP, and it's not a key. So March 9th, it is a T minus, March 9th, 1830. And then September 2nd, 1830. So let's check this date again. So March 9th. March 9th. Purim. An eclipse on Purim. Awesome. We did. We confirmed. Breaking news again. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Yes. Joseph knew. No, Travis, it was a spiritual witness that when you follow it, it just automatically turns true. Joseph Smith Sr. was not a Jewish mystic who knew about the signs in the heavens and all things Jews concerning the mysticism of Gematria, Tamara, and Keraton. Did I pronounce that right? And the Tree of Life. You know, the stuff that's contained in the Book of Mormon, in the 116 pages specifically, of which Joseph Smith lost to Martin Harris. And then the Lord was mad, took away Junior's translation ability, cast him out to the Whitmer's home to be babysat by Oliver Cowdery. Holy crap! Oops, I've done it again. This is awesome! Holy crap! So the founding of the church coincided with a Purim solar eclipse, and I'm still trying to find out if it's what version it was. So let's see if there's anything in the solar eclipse, 9 March 1830. Oh, right, it's on the trick page. Now they're saying no. They're not giving the right date. Oh, lunar. That's right. Mixing them up. Lunar eclipse. There we go. Okay, there is a source that has this. It was a total lunar eclipse. 1830, March 9th. Eclipse-wise is the source for this. The total lunar eclipse of 1830, March 9th, is preceded 2 weeks earlier by a partial solar eclipse of 1830, February 23rd. And it is followed 2 weeks later followed 2 weeks later by, where is it in the text here? Come on, guys. It is followed 2 weeks later by a partial solar eclipse on the 24th of March, 1830. Wow. Awesome. Breaking news. And, oh, look at that. It could be seen in western New York. Awesome. Oh my God. This is breaking news. Am I able to save this picture? It's a GIF, so I'm going to have to convert it in order to get it in the... Let's confirm what we get. Come on. Yeah, we do get the whole thing. Good. Alright, so we'll have to do a little conversion of it to share with you. Wise men share. That is awesome. And what thanks do I get for this? 1 billion thumbs down. Dear God. So, yeah, on the 9th of March, 1830, was a lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse that Joseph Smith saw. And so on the 6th, actually on the 24th of March, a partial solar eclipse occurred. You can check that one. However, he did not know about this one because this was down at the South Pole. So he wouldn't have seen this. He may have known it if he was had access to star charts and knew of this and that and whatever. But then there was another one. Partial solar eclipse on February 23rd. That was 2 weeks earlier. That is over Europe. So no, the United States did not see that one either. So it's just the lunar eclipse that Joseph obviously would have known about. But the solar eclipses, Joseph may not have known about those. And so for the Purim, total lunar eclipse, March 9th, 1830, to then organize the church 2 days before the 8th. So what's going on the 8th of April? Or 8th of April, 2024? A total solar eclipse, the third day of darkness, when the last day of the latter days is. And so the 6th should, in all essence, be the founding of the millennial kingdom of the Christ. And unfortunately, yes, Nelson, you do have pole position in this, as you are already setting things in motion for that weekend and that day specifically. for the inverted pentagram Temple of Zion with the rededication ceremony and placement of the Christus in its final resting place, as you already told us. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with, guys. The Great and Abominable Church is pushing for their Zion for the millennium. So far they're winning. Right, Mormons? Because the church is true, right? As you fully dismissed Joseph and all that I've gone over with you. But, that is awesome. That is awesome. That is awesome. And here we have more patterns that I've gone over with you. Purim next year. It is right before the final phase of the pattern of the tetrad lunar eclipses, which the lunar eclipse preceded the founding of the true church that got usurped and taken over and Joseph murdered. And, wow. I'm like, this is awesome. I don't know if you guys have ever made a discovery before. It is an awesome thrill. It makes me want to do my happy dance. And this is over an hour. Holy crap. Oh, man. And I got to add it to the other one, which I think was like 30 minutes or something. Holy crap. So this is a bigger deal than I realized. So where are the Mormons stepping up? Where are you? You know, it's okay that you left the church, the 13 million of you, but where are you guys? You guys are stuck with Homewrecker Psycho. You know who I'm talking about. He's a good man. He helps us with our feelings. It's called brainwashing. It's the same thing the prophets do to Mormons. But in Mormonism, it's called a spiritual witness. In the regular world of psychos, it's referred to as feelings and emotions. They purposely manipulate you so that you are a Manchurian candidate, brainwashed and hypnotized, and you're fully aware of what's going on, but you don't understand that when trigger words are mentioned, all of a sudden you become robotic voice. Church is not true. Church is true, depending on which one you are. And you have no clue about any of this stuff. You're not even bothering to look. And so it's all up to me to do the pioneer research to get the answers I'm looking for. Because nobody else will do it. I think we're done. I think we covered it all. We got Isis to Ishtar to Esther. So yes, you can do that with the others. But we're focused on Purim for this one. And so yeah, the fall of the Great and Abominable Church, guys. That's what all this is about. That's what Purim is about. That's what Exodus. All the stories, the fall of the Great and Abominable Church, and the restoration of the church and government. So yes, the United States is fallen. And so dear God, that verdict on Friday, my hell. If that starts off civil war, I'm so pissed. But protests have already begun, so it depends on how far it'll escalate. It doesn't help that Jr. is now doing speaking interviews. I support Black Lives Matter. I wasn't going there to shoot them dead. I'm the good guy now because the court said so. I'm innocent of shooting and murdering people. God. So yeah, total chaos, pandemonium, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Ghostbusters. Apparently the new one kind of sucks according to the critics. I have to wait until it comes out on DVD if I'm still alive. And they're still going to make a DVD of it. Alright. I think we're done. It's awesome! Yes! Yes! Did it again. Kept going doing research after I shut off the video. And, yep, I eventually got to it. I was checking some past stuff and such, and then thought, wait a minute. Passover, or Purim, sorry, total lunar eclipse before the founding of the church in 1830 on Purim. And, well, what about 2024? We have the total solar eclipse 2 days after the 6th, the founding of the church in 1830. Well, what about a lunar eclipse? Would it happen to be on Purim? Yes! Yes. On the 25th of March, Purim, a penumbral eclipse, lunar eclipse, occurs. Oh, hilarious. Yep, right before the, let's see, yeah, 2 weeks before. It's amazing what you can find when you actually do research. Just awesome, I'm telling you. And so yes, there's a pattern for next year, and then there's the pattern for 2024 as well.